Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to give you 7 tips that I think will help you to become a better guitar player or musician for that matter. Most of these tips are not only applicable to guitar, so even if you play a different instrument, I still think that you will benefit from this video. I'm making this video with beginners in mind. Hopefully, no matter what stage you're at, you'll be able to take something positive away from this video that will aid you on this never-ending road to guitar paradise. Not all of these tips are technical. I would love in the future to film a video that is strictly about technical tips that will help you on the instrument. I do believe that you need a certain attitude and a certain mindset in order to be successful at an instrument. So today's video, I think, encompasses all of that. Tip number 1 is consistent practice. You're probably not going to progress as much in the beginning stages if you practice less frequently and with more time in between your practice sessions. If you practice for half an hour on Wednesday and then again for an hour on Sunday and then you don't pick up the guitar again for a few more days, you're probably not going to make the progress that you would like, especially in the beginning stages. You're much better off to do 5 minutes a day. Even if your life is really busy, 5 minutes out of your day is nothing. But here's the trick. You tell yourself you're going to do 5 minutes, chances are you'll probably end up getting into it and you'll play for longer. And 5 minutes is much less daunting than having to sit down for an hour practice session or even half an hour practice session. And you probably won't do it. Honestly, let's be honest with ourselves, you probably won't do it. So have a 5-minute plan in your head, and who knows, you might end up doing it for 20 minutes, which is better than not doing it at all that day. You'll progress more if you're consistent. If you don't believe me, just try it for 1 week. This is my challenge to you. Pick something you want to learn, whether it's a song or a scale or a lick or chord progression, whatever it is. Keep track of your progress, journal it every day. Write down how the chord sounded or how the notes sounded, how quickly you could transition. Did you notice your fingers moving faster? I'm pretty sure you'll see a significant difference by the end of the 7 days. It might not be done, it might not be perfect, I'm not saying it will be, but the point is you'll see the level of work that you need to put into an instrument if you want to be good at it. Consistent practice. Tip number 2 is to record yourself. Oh, the cringe. This is one that took me a long time to get over. I didn't want to hear myself. I didn't want to listen back to anything I had played. If someone came to a gig of mine and they recorded it, I would literally block my ears. I did not want to hear myself play. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. In the same way that most of us don't like to hear our own voices played back to us. Now that I've gotten older and more confident, I wish I would have recorded myself sooner and have listened back more over the years, because I would have learned so much. Doesn't mean I still don't cringe, but I'm better now at being able to separate it from being judgmental of myself and listening back in a more objective way to help my playing sound better. I feel like my playing has improved so much since I started to record myself, so give it a try. There are so many little things that are easy to miss when we're practicing something. Might be a certain note or a certain phrase. You might have to change only one tiny thing and it'll make the entire phrase sound so much better, and you might not picked up on it had you not recorded yourself and listened back. Tip number 3 is don't compare yourself. This is something that's especially difficult nowadays. YouTube and Instagram is saturated with so many amazingly brilliant players, guitar players and other musicians. It's so easy for us to get caught up in how many subscribers they have, how many followers they have. Maybe they have a gig that we really want, or maybe we watch them play and it actually has a negative effect on us because we think, we'll never be as good as them. What's the point in even trying? If we both go for the same job, they're going to get it because they're better than me. Wrong. This is not true. This is your mind playing tricks on you. This is all about mindset and where mindset comes in. I spoke about this in a previous video where I talked about my experience at Tommy Emmanuel's guitar camp at the beginning of the year, which you should go and watch the video, by the way, if you haven't seen it yet. I said it then, I'll say it again now. Someone else's guitar journey literally has no effect on yours. Only you can control your journey as a musician. I'm guilty of this too sometimes. You find yourself having these bad thoughts about yourself. Just Acknowledge it and try and pull yourself out of that negative thought pattern and remind yourself of why you love to play in the first place. The truth is, we learn so much from watching other people. So if you find yourself making negative comparisons in your head or putting yourself down, just remind yourself that you are literally wasting your time. You are wasting your time. It achieves nothing. Those thoughts achieve nothing. It's a waste of time. I'm reminded of one of my favorite quotes: comparison is the thief of joy. Tip number 4 is specific to guitar players. Learn basic techniques such as bending, vibrato, hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, all that stuff. You've learned the basics, you've learned some chords, you've learned a few songs. Now you need to learn these techniques. These are so important. Practice bending with a target note to make sure that your bend is the correct pitch. There is nothing worse than an out of tune bend. I think we can all agree. Practice full bends. Half bend. Pre-bend. Practice vibrato on its own, and then vibrato with a bend. Practice the bend first and then add the vibrato. Hammer-ons and pull-offs. These are not only good for your playing, but it's really important that you're able to recognize them when you hear them. For example, if there's a solo or a lick or a riff that you want to learn, it's really important that you know the technique that is used and that you're able to identify it when you hear it. Did the player pick both notes? Did they slide? Did they bend? It's not just about the technique, but about training your ear. These are really important things that you learn how to do in the beginning, especially when you start to branch into lead playing. Tip number 5 is to practice with a metronome. Would you please, for God's sake? Don't try to play too fast too soon. It's not about speed. Note accuracy is way more important. Practice slowly first, then build up to a moderate speed, and the notes sound good. That's more important. And the speed will come on its own. It's not about your ego. It's not about impressing people. Look how fast I can play this thing. Look at me, I'm so fast. Rhythm skills are such an important part of musical learning, and they are essential. Every cover that is on my channel so far, every song that I've learned that I've posted and not posted, I have practiced with a metronome over and over and over again. Sometimes when you're playing live or when you're playing for someone or recording yourself, you know, a little bit of red light syndrome, we increase the speed of the song without even realizing it because we're nervous or because of adrenaline or whatever. So practicing with a metronome is really important to help you build those rhythm skills. It'll just help you bring the tempo back, and the song will sound much better when it's played at the tempo that it's meant to be played at and not faster. So I think it's important for you to get in the habit of practicing with a metronome when you're at home. Even if you don't physically own a metronome, you probably have a laptop or a phone or something that you're using to watch this video. Go to Google, type in metronome. You're welcome. It's so much more important that you learn to play in time. You'll find that the more you play, the more work you put in, and the more time that passes, you'll be able to play faster with not as much effort as you thought. Tip number 6, which is cheesy, always be yourself. You can take inspiration from other players, but it's important to focus on what you want to say. Every guitarist is different, that's what makes it fun. Imagine a world where we all sounded exactly the same. We all played a song and you couldn't tell the difference between one player to the next. That would be so boring and such a pity. You can never be exactly like your favorite players. Sure, you can borrow from them, but you'll never be them because simply, you're not them. You can only sound like a copy, like John Mayer, but only 90%. Only John Mayer is 100% John Mayer, and you want to sound like 100% you. Find your own sound within all the pieces of your favorite players that inspire you. Always be yourself, and I guarantee you people will want to listen to you. We can always tell when someone is not being themselves or not being authentic, so we stop listening, we click away, we move on to someone else. We also do have to remember that there is room for everyone, and this is something that I struggle with too. I think to myself, seemingly the industry is just full of people doing this. Everything's already been done. There's no room for me. But then you find something new, whether it's an album, a song, YouTube channel, a singer-songwriter, whatever it is. You find them, you love them, and then you can't imagine a world where they don't exist. That's when you have to focus on the fact that you're doing this because it makes you happy, and it's not about anyone else. The right people will find you and they'll love you for you. And finally, tip number 7 is to be patient. As they say, Rome wasn't built in a day, and you have to be patient with yourself, especially in the beginning. Don't get me wrong, this isn't easy. I still have to exercise my patience even after 14 years of playing. It doesn't just apply to the beginning, but it is really important, because otherwise you'll burn out, or worse, you'll give up, as so many people do. We live in a time right now where everything is instant. We can have whatever we want with one click. Spoiler alert, this doesn't apply to guitar playing. I can't tell you how many young students I've had that get so frustrated with something they're learning because they didn't master it in a 30-minute lesson. Oftentimes that's unrealistic. It's really important to remember that it's taken your heroes years and years and decades to get where they are right now, and it may take you months and months to learn one song, but it literally doesn't matter. As long as you're doing it, you'll progress. Patience is key. And there we are. There are my 7 tips. I really hope you took some valuable points away from this video, and I really hope I helped you in some way along your musical journey. If you have any tips that have helped you that I haven't mentioned, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and we can all help each other out. Don't forget to like and share this video. Please subscribe if you're new. It would mean the world to me. We are currently at 1.5k subscribers, and I'm just getting started. Please like me on Facebook here, follow on Instagram here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!